Dr. B N Purandare was the president of FOXI from 1967 to 1969. He had contributed to the activities of the Indian Federation right from its inception and towards the expansion of the Federation activities throughout India. He was the founder fellow of the Indian College of Obstetrics and Gynecology. The RCOG and AOFOG had honored him by conferring them their fellowship. He had represented India in the executive committee of the International Federation of Gynecology and Obstetrics in Geneva, and for his contribution, he was elected as vice president and later on as president at the Moscow Congress in 1972. He was the first Indian to become the president of FIGO. In his own words from the interview, Dr. B N Purandare.
1954, we started with the International Federation of Obstetrics and Gynecology. Right from the beginning, I was connected with it because it was originated by Professor Dawatville of Geneva. He started this idea about having an international federation. And since I had done this Indian federation, so he took me along with him, you see, to frame the rules and regulations of the federations similar to our Indian federations. And in that way, the All International Federation was started. I was on the member as many years. Then I became the vice president. And ultimately, I reached the stage where I was elected unanimously in New York by about 6,000 representatives from all over the world. I was unanimously elected as a president, the only Indian, I think, to reach that stage.
We have Dr. Shirish Sheth, who has also occupied the chair of the FIGO president. Dr. Shirish Sheth in KEM Hospital worked as Dr. B N Purandare's registrar and also as his assistant honorary. And today we have him with us to tell us a little more about his boss, Dr. B N Purandare.
Is something about Dr. B N Purandare, whom I had treated like a father, was an outstanding obstetrician and a gynecologist. In fact, if you see him, a tall, handsome, any woman would fall for him, but he fell for numberless women as a gynecologist and a great gynecologist to do the good as WHO and Almighty say. He served FIGO president from 73 to 76. Now, people may not as much understand, but FIGO is world, that is Federation International Gynec Obstetric. And importance is that people may forget slowly the name of the guys. I say with a lot of experience, but they will never forget that tall, handsome guy from India, from Mumbai. Master is a light word. For him, as a vaginal hysterectomist, his friendliness with the procedure was outstanding. He did it with clampless. Everybody uses clamp. I'm not criticizing. Certainly keep using clamp. But he was master with clampless, and that added a flavor. I had pleasure of even doing him shoutas, which itself the surgery for carcinoma cervix disappeared because of the radiotherapy, lymphadenectomy, but he did it masterly, like Kelte. You know, I mean, Kelte is like without losing a point, without losing a game, and did Verdheims at remarkable ease. I enjoyed every operation he did, and I become honorary in 64, June 12. He retired in 69. 5 years, all of our operation days, I sat on the stool, which is at the higher level to see on his left, and attended every operation without iota of doubt. I got all these my years, that is before he retired in 69, and that is now 53 years ago. In today's Bhasha, I was a Bakalyu baby in Gynec. He had masterly personality, 6 feet high, physique. He would impress before even he would start his work or open his mouth. Some women's pH would fall by seeing him, and he talked limitedly but meaningfully. He spoke very less but meaningfully, lucrative and useful. So you find that as India's representative, he then went to FIGO, Federation International Gynecological Managing Committee, and then became the president. Religiously served MOGS, Mumbai Society or Bombay Obstetric Gynec Society, All India Gynec Federation, was a representative to the International Federation, and later get favorable presidency of FIGO. I had pleasure of attending his becoming president, and I went to Russia, indeed for Foxy and all colleagues in Asia to feel proud. The greatest teacher in obstetric gynec and God's gift to obstetric gynec profession, Dr. C.G. Saraiya, who came frequently to KM on BN's operation day to see him performing hysterectomies vaginal. Saraiya came to see BN's vaginal hysterectomy and Tata Cancer Hospital to see the Verdans. Likewise, the Britishers, Europeans, Asians, Americans attended BN performing vaginal surgery. And I really feel proud to remember those memorable days, and a great teacher whom I cannot forget, and a personality, a gift of God to India, to profession, and to FIGO. Thank you very much for your kind invitation.
Dr. B N Purandare was keenly interested in music and dramatics, participated in Marathi dramas, and also wrote and staged some musical plays. He was also keenly interested in cricket from a very young age and was fond of music, and in his own words, after medical college, he used to rush for lessons in music, singing, and hold your breath, flying.
I learned flying when I was about 35 years or 40 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to run from the KEM hospital, just as I used to run from the KEM hospital for having my tuitions in singing.
And also drama.
And dramas. You see, but sometimes I used to run to the Juhu Flying Club.
You were a member there?
Well, I'm still a member today
see.
also.
Oh, I see.
I'm still, I was a holder of licenses, a flying license and all that. So one instance that permanently remained in my mind, a real flight, you see, was I did a flying in Nagpur. And I took, that time I was waiting at the airport, and then there was one instructor who was here in Juhu. So I went there, I said, have you got a plane now here? I'll try to go up, see with the regular flight. He said, why you want to do, you have done so much flying. Take one glider, because it's a very nice occasion now, you see, because this is 12 o'clock in the afternoon, to get lots of currents here, and the temperature was already very high that time. I think it was somewhere around 112 or something. It's very exceptionally high temperature. I said, that's an ideal thing. I took a glider and I went up, and it was really a surprising thing that I went up and up. I got a good currents. I went up and up to 12,000 feet.
Oh my God.
Without an engine. See, 12,000 feet without an engine. I was jumping about from one cloud to another cloud.
Let's also talk to his son, Dr. C.V. Purandare, about his practice days.
Really a great man. As a father, I admire the way in which he used to talk with us, with each and everyone. As a matter of fact, his day used to start at 5 o'clock in the morning. Around about 5:30, his anesthetist used to come for surgery. And from 5:30 to 9:30, he used to do his operations in his private nursing home, which was situated downstairs. When the last patient was taken up, the call used to come to the house saying that the last station patient has been taken up. Please arrange for the food. And my mother used to prepare the food. We prepare
Breakfast.
not breakfast. It was brunch.
Brunch, okay.
It was brunch. And he will have the brunch, quick brunch, and could go to KM hospital where he was first assistant honorary, then he became honorary, and then he became the head of the department of obstetrics and gynecology. His philosophy was, a busy man is a man who has got time for everything, whereas the idle man is a man who has got time for nobody. Being a first-class surgeon, people wanted his opinion and they should do surgery on him. So therefore he had a lot of patients coming over there. Now it is very difficult for me to tell everything, but I will tell you few of it. One incident which I can tell you is the great singer had a post-menopausal bleeding. She consulted few doctors in India, and they decided that she should go to UK for her further treatment. So she went to UK. In the UK, one of the surgeons saw her and said that you have a tumor in the uterus, and also your hormonal estimations are required to be done. And therefore she was referred to Geneva for the another laboratory where in those days hormonal estimations used to be done. Report came that she had a menopausal symptoms. So she required hysterectomy. Now in the UK, whenever anybody is for hysterectomy, she has to undergo their all paraffin, sorry,
The pre-anesthetic
pre-anesthetic
evaluation,
and
etc.
all those things. So she went through all those things. At the end of it, the anesthetist saw her and said that she is fit for surgery, but that surgery has to be done by general anesthesia. So I will have to put intratracheal tube in her mouth. When he came to know that she is a singer, and if I damage her intratracheal tube, then there will be a problem of singing, and so therefore he refused to give anesthesia. The surgeon said, if you cannot be anesthetized, I cannot do your surgery. Said, I can refer you to a center where this same operation is done by spinal anesthesia. So she was referred to USA. Now when she went to USA, there also she was examined and they decided that she required to be operated. But again, while going through the
Insurance papers,
the anesthetist found that she is highly insured for her life.
so he chickened out.
So he said that no, we cannot do. We should not take any risk of this thing. So you please treat her by giving her hormones and medical line of treatment and not the surgical line of treatment. So the surgeon asked, from where you have come from? So she said that I have come from India and my town is Bombay. So he said, oh, you have come from Bombay for hysterectomy to USA? There is a authority, worldwide authority in Bombay who does hysterectomies. She said, who is that person? He said, Professor B N Purandare.
Dr. Purandare was a teacher, a very popular one. From 1941, he had trained the doctors in his specialty of obstetrics and gynecology for more than 40 years. He has written Prasuti Shastra, Science of Obstetrics, a Marathi textbook for nurses. In 1984, under his chairmanship, was founded the Rural Medical College in Loni, Parvara, one of the first private medical colleges in the state of Maharashtra.
As he was associated with cricket, the family of Gavaskar also was known to my father. So at the time of Sunil Gavaskar's delivery time, they came to my father, and he delivered Sunil Gavaskar at that time.
Oh, so he was born here?
He was born over here. Actually, when he was born, he did not cry much. So therefore, he has to be slapped by my father, and then he started crying because my father slapped him on his buttocks. And therefore, he started crying. Now, whenever he used to run out, he always used to say, "This is because of me." Because I have slapped him on his buttocks, and that is why it must be paining him while running over there.
Oh, poor fellow. So he used to take partly the blame of what was happening on the field.
He was presented with a Sanman Patra by all Maharashtra Jyotish Parishad for his work on astrology. Dr. B N Purandare was not merely a great surgeon and a gynecologist of international standing and reputation, but was indeed a great humanist, a social worker, and a scholar. With this great surgeon pursuing interest in singing, dramatics, flying, agriculture, photography, if this title, Diamonds Are Forever, reminds you of James Bond, well, Dr. B N Purandare can truly be called the James Bond of OBGYN.